It's Luke and Susie with you for Faith, Family, Culture. And look, we got a message on
Yes.
our Luke and Susie Facebook page from someone called Percy who's written a book. And so we have got Percy with us now to have a bit of a chat about this book. Turns out this is not his first.
No, we're going to get to that in just a second. But Suze, just a moment when we were exploring into the link that Percy sent, you had me very confused.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, because I clicked on the video link to watch the reading of this book.
Oh, yeah.
And I went, wow, that's coming through a different set of speakers. And it was completely like it was doing my head in. I hit play on my computer and it's playing through your computer. I'm like, how is my computer linked to your computer? Doesn't make sense. Turns out my computer was muted and you hit the link at exactly the same time.
Yeah.
Just crazy. Percy is with us. You've been doing our head in just by sending us a link because clearly we're professional communicators. Percy, tell me, so this book, Who Am I? It's to children in particular. What motivated you to write a kid's book? Because this wasn't what you had written specifically before this.
That's correct, Luke. So thank you so much for the opportunity to speak with you first, Luke and Susie. It's great to be on the show. So I was inspired to write this book because my wife and I, we have been looking for these kind of books. So we've searched, around the world because we've got two kids, 5 years and 3 years old. And so we were looking for this kind of books. We couldn't find them. And I decided from writing poetry for young adults to dive straight into writing this sort of books because they are so needed. And I found out later on as I published the book, emails from people around Australia, that actually they have been waiting for this kind of books. Even older people, they said to me, they wish this kind of book was there when they were growing up.
So tell us about, you say your children are 3 and 5, was that right?
Yes, correct.
So they were both born in Australia, but you yourself have only been in Australia for about 8 years.
Yes, that's correct. So I was born in South Africa, in Durban, and my kids were born here. So even myself, I couldn't find books that had skin of my color in South Africa as I was growing up. So I thought I have to do something about this for my kids.
So before this, you have written a couple of books beforehand. You mentioned poems in there. You've got lots of different sort of expression that you've used before. How did you go changing style to write for children specifically? Was that a challenge or was that a lot of fun? Is this the start?
It was a lot of fun and a challenge at the same time because the poetry that I was writing, it's true, listeners or readers to think deeper. But then when I wrote children's book, I was like, because I've read obviously so many books because I read books to my kids every night before they go to bed and in the morning when I'm not going to work. And I was just thinking, this is basically poetry, the way they rhyme. And then all I had to do was to change my mindset to actually think in terms of the child and make it simpler. So make my poetry simpler. So it's kind of similar in a way. So it's not that different.
Percy, you said before that this was a book that was really needed and that a lot of parents have thanked you for it. You're dealing with, of course, your African roots and your children who are growing up being different from other children. So why is this subject matter so important? What are we missing culturally day to day?
Okay, so there's a problem with being different in the kids' context because they are not really exposed to people being different or someone explaining to them that it's okay to be different. So what I have seen in the past is that when they go to school, then they start treating each other not in a very nice way. And then you find out that, they're picking up on other kids just because they've got different hair or different skin color. And then because they don't understand this, it makes people who have different hair or skin color or different in any other way don't feel good about their difference. So I thought if I understand to the people that are different than other kids, then they will start being proud of who they are, their identity, and embracing their culture. At the same time, while doing that, helping other kids who see different kids than themselves, embracing that difference.
Yeah, so this is a book not just for people like you. You've got children who have African roots, but for Australian children who have, like my family, I think we're 5 or 6 or 7 generations are Australian. So this is my heritage is Australian. But so for me, there's something in this as well.
Exactly, definitely. This book is definitely for you as well, and other kids. I had actually a friend of mine who I was looking at the book with, who lives in Australia. You'll be amazed. He's an older person, and he said he looked back at his projects that he did while he was a child, and then he started going back to those books he tried to write as a teenager just because he saw the title of this book.
Wow.
So he spoke to him as well to actually undust his project that he did like more than 30 years ago.
I love that.
Because he realized that actually his identity is much deeper than what he was doing at the moment.
So good.
Isn't it funny that you go to the simplistic message and space to speak to children with the biggest question we've ever asked and we've never had an answer for: who am I?
Yeah.
What's my purpose? What's the meaning of life?
Yeah.
Like, this is the
Where do
deepest.
I fit in the world?
Percy, it's been a pleasure to catch up with you. I've loved looking through and having you read the book to me via video, which has been delightful.
So good.
And you can check it all out at Percy. Now, let me get this right. Percy'sPoems.com is the space to find it. Percy, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Luke and Susie.